from the station working for you. This is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
Can't even grieve because you're always wondering, has my child been forgotten about? Does anybody hear me? Do they care?
Nearly 7 months after her son was shot and killed in Indianapolis, a mother is fighting for change. Thanks for joining us here at 11 o'clock. I'm Nicole Griffin. That mother wants better communication between IMPD homicide detectives and families of homicide victims. Melissa Jude's 20-year-old son, Chandler Bussey, was killed on June 12th at Arsenal Park. She says there have been no arrests in the case, and until she started talking with other mothers, she thought she was alone in her situation when dealing with not being able to get in touch with the detective on the case. Jude says that is one reason they are planning a peaceful protest tomorrow outside of the city-county building. She says the mothers want to send a message to city leaders, detectives, and prosecutors that their children matter and they want answers.
We're grieving, and most of us, it's our first holiday without our kids, and it's something that a lot of them probably can't imagine how it feels. Listen to us. Do they know the lack of communication that really goes on? And just understand our frustration with how a lot of these investigations are going, and we are just left to feel as if, our kids don't matter or they don't care.
Jude says the mothers are also calling for better protection for witnesses. She says they do not want to see another year with 245 homicides like we had in 2020. IMPD sent the following statement to WRTV saying in part, quote, IMPD has overcome many challenges this year, most notably the nationwide spike in violence brought to bear on our community. Despite the increased workload, our detectives remain focused on solving each and every homicide. IMPD says it's committed to working with the community into 2021 to continue fighting on behalf of those who cannot speak for themselves. There's a plan to put Metro Police in the hands of a state-appointed board. We are learning these details as the state legislature plans to begin looking at new bills tomorrow. The move comes as Metro Police faced that record level of homicides in 2020. Senator Jack Sandlin of Indianapolis and Scott Baldwin of Noblesville are behind Senate Bill 168. The two Republicans would require the 5-member board would be made up of the mayor and 4 people appointed by the governor to run IMPD. If the bill is approved by the legislature, the board would oversee Metro Police by January 1st of the year 2023.
In order for police to have good community relations, there has to be trust. And right now, I don't see any trust. And so took a look at some models in some other places and tried to figure out a way that we might be able to respond to some of the issues that are currently going on and help reinstill that trust.
WRTV did reach out to the mayor's office and Metro Police via email, and we are still waiting on their responses. We'll have more of the discussion with Senator Sandlin tomorrow on Good Morning Indiana. New at 11, Metro Police are investigating the 3rd deadly shooting in the first weekend of the new year. This was the scene earlier tonight in the 1900 block of West Coyle Street near West 64th Street and Michigan Road on the north side. Officers found a wounded man when they arrived at the scene, and he later died. The incident remains under investigation, and additional details have not been released. Now to your forecast tonight as we wrap up this Sunday. Meteorologist Kyle Mounts joins me now. And Kyle, it's been kind of a gray, chilly day outside.
Yeah, not very bright for us, Nicole. And this morning, some of us woke up to a little bit of snow, especially around the Lafayette area and points northwest of Indy. Monticello picked up about 3.5 inches of snow. There are those highs from today. 35 degrees in the city. That's right about average, though. Average high is 36 for us. And right now, we sit at the freezing mark downtown and in Lafayette at 32, 28 in Bloomington. You've kind of cleared out your skies just a little bit, and you can see that on the satellite here. We're starting to see the back edge of those clouds moving in around Spencer and Brazil this evening, and we may continue to see a little more of that clearing as we go into the overnight. So we'll call partly cloudy to mostly cloudy skies tomorrow morning. We'll start off dry, though, with temperatures in the 20s, and we do have a little bit of a warm up coming our way. More on that in your 7-day forecast.
Kyle, thank you. Now to the latest COVID-19 numbers from the State Department of Health. Another 3,002 Hoosiers have been diagnosed with the virus. 56 more Hoosiers have died, bringing the total number of deaths to 8,111. Since March, more than 526,000 Hoosiers have tested positive for COVID-19, and nearly 5.8 million tests have been administered in Indiana. More than 350,000 Americans have lost their lives to COVID-19. The country has seen more than 20 million cases of the virus so far. President Trump took to Twitter this morning, falsely claiming the numbers from the CDC are exaggerated. Dr. Anthony Fauci insists the numbers are accurate, but says he did not anticipate the death toll in the United States would reach the level that it has.
There's no running away from the numbers. It's something that we absolutely got to grasp and get our arms around and turn that inflection down by very intensive adherence to the public health measures.
As the number of cases continues to surge, the rollout of the vaccine has faced challenges nationwide. Only about 4.2 million Americans have been vaccinated so far, falling short of the Trump administration's goal of 20 million by the end of 2020. More than 75,000 people have received their first dose here in Indiana. Tomorrow morning, some Marion County schools will reopen their doors for students and return to in-person learning for the first time since November. One of the districts heading back to the classroom tomorrow is Perry Township. Students in kindergarten through 5th grade will be back in the classroom Monday through Friday. Students in 6th through 12th grade are on a hybrid schedule, and others, including Nick and Alex Frank, can start 2021 on a completely virtual schedule. Nick is a senior at Southport High School and was previously on a hybrid route. He was able to do his senior season of cross country and was planning to play basketball this year, but he has decided to now switch to the virtual option for his own health and safety.
Like, they're doing the same things they do online and in person. It's just like preparing me for college, like being like dependent on myself and like getting all my work done and like figuring out myself.
It's got to the point that we are concerned for their health and their safety. Parents, you have to trust that they're checking their students before they put them on a bus. And by the time they get to school, they've already been exposed to other staff and students. And you have no say in that until, you get a phone call saying that they've been exposed.
Well, e-learning is proving to be a challenge, though, for some students. We talked to another mother who says her son needs that extra assistance, and she does feel comfortable sending him and his brother back to school.
It was kind of like, oh my gosh, they're shutting down. Like, this is real. Like, so it was hard, especially, they have to have that social aspect. And it's when they're not getting that, they can Zoom, but it's not the same as having that physical interaction with your teachers, with your friends. So it's hard for them. They're ready to go back to school.
Well, Perry Township is reminding parents to be prepared if COVID-19 rates increase in the county. Back to school plans could be adjusted once again. Pike Township starts school tomorrow as well, but they will not be in person since the percent positivity rate in the county at 13.3% is above their threshold of 10.4%. A Carmel family is using the pandemic to create a bond that ties generations together. WRTV's Troy Washington shows us how the grandmother who inspired the business is using quilting to pass time and help others.
I have to keep busy, and especially with the lockdown, I'd have lost my mind if I wouldn't have had something to do.
This grandmother says in 2020, she donated more than 50 of her quilts to charity, and she plans to do even more good in 2021 with the help of her daughters.
I'm 95 years old, but God gave me the strength and some eyesight that I can still do that, and I enjoy doing it because I was taught that you do things for others. And I have tried to do that all of my life.
Edith Lessie is a resident at Carmel Senior Living now, and even though she's away from her daughters, the trio is still connected through their business, Generations Quilting Studio.
About a year ago, decided to start the business because we are obsessed with it, love it, right. Love the people that we're involved with. It's been hard during the lockdown, but we've still managed to stay close with our customers, and
it just keeps us all connected at this time. that we can't be in the same, closeness that we were.
These three say it's important to keep the quilting going.
That if we don't pass this on to the next generation, it'll be a lost art. And so we're keeping it going.
And according to Leslie, anyone can get into it.
And, it's not only for girls. The boys are quilting.
Yes.
And they're good at it.
Working for you, Troy Washington, WRTV.
All right, Troy, thank you so much. A thrilling finish to the season for the Colts, and now they find themselves with a spot in the NFL playoffs. The Colts defeated Jacksonville this evening 28-14. Jonathan Taylor set a team record with 253 rushing yards. He also scored 2 touchdowns. The win earns the Colts an AFC wild card. They will play Buffalo next weekend. And coming up later in sports, Brad Brown has a look at how the day came together, a reaction from the Colts, and a look at the first weekend of the postseason. A leaked phone call catches President Trump demanding election officials somehow come up with thousands more votes in his favor. We'll have the very latest plus reaction next on the News at 11.
Payments, no interest for 12 months.
The 117th Congress convened today, but today's events on Capitol Hill were overshadowed by a recording of an hour-long phone call in which President Trump is heard pressuring Georgia's Secretary of State to find more votes. Here's ABC's Faith Abube with the details.
In Saturday's hour-long phone call, President Donald Trump is heard pressuring Georgia's Republican Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, to find votes to change the results of the election.
So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
The recording was first obtained by the Washington Post and then in full by ABC News.
We won the election, and it's not fair to take it away from us like this.
Citing conspiracy theories and rumors, but providing no evidence to support his claims.
And there's nothing wrong with saying that, that you've recalculated.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong.
Georgia's ballots have already been counted 3 times. President-elect Joe Biden, the winner.
You should want to have an accurate election. And you're a Republican.
We believe that we do have an accurate election.
The White House declining to comment on the tape when asked by ABC News. The president's legal team has lost more than 50 cases in court trying to prove voter fraud. Still, 140 House Republicans and at least a dozen GOP senators say they will object to the Electoral College results this week. The effort has sparked infighting within the party.
We ought to have a fair inquiry, a fair audit into these results, and we ought to resolve these claims, not just dismiss them out of hand.
But Senator Mitt Romney of Utah, writing in a statement, quote, "I could never have imagined seeing these things in the greatest democracy in the world. Has ambition so eclipsed principle?" This all comes just 2 days ahead of Georgia's Senate runoffs.
A lot of people aren't going out to vote. And a lot of Republicans are going to vote negative because they hate what you did to the president.
Some Republicans fear the president's repeated false claims of a rigged election will cost them control of the Senate. Faith Abube, ABC News, Washington.
Get a check of your temperatures now, and where those skies have cleared out, that's where we've got numbers already down into the 20s out there. 25 in Terre Haute, 28 in Bloomington. We sit at 32 in Indy, Columbus, and 34 in the Muncie area. We look back to the west, and there's a core of some cold air, but you also notice there's 40s back behind that. So it does look like temperatures will begin to rebound here at least a little bit. Tonight, with the clouds in place, temperatures going to fall back to the middle 20s or so, where we've got those clearing skies, though some southwestern locations could dip into the lower 20s by early on Monday morning. And there you can see on TrueCast at 8 o'clock in the morning, the back edge of that cloud cover near Indianapolis. So I think we will work in a little bit of sunshine here as we go through our Monday. Still quite a bit of cloud cover that's going to be out there. And then tomorrow night, we've got a weak weather system that's going to be slipping on through here. This is 4 a.m. as we go into the early morning hours of Tuesday. A few snow showers out there. I don't think think we're going to see much more than maybe a coating out on the grassy surfaces here as we go into Tuesday. And again, that would be a quick mover and pretty much the northern half of central Indiana once again. As we get into Tuesday, we'll see some partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies. But for our Monday, temperatures with a little bit of sunshine out there hovering around the 30-degree mark through 10 a.m. We'll get into the mid-30s for your lunch hour. I think the winds will be fairly light. They'll be out of the south, so that will be enough to give us a few more degrees on that thermometer tomorrow afternoon. We'll get to a high around 43 in Indy, 44 in Columbus. A little more sunshine. Temperatures warm a little bit as we have more cloud cover to the north. Around Peru and Kokomo, temperatures in the upper 30s for you. As we get into the day on Tuesday, we've got those clouds back in place. We should see some thinning of the clouds as we go through the afternoon, but another shot of some chilly air behind that little clipper system that will bring a few snow showers Monday night. So our high on Tuesday, it's at 39 degrees. We'll be back into the lower 40s here on Wednesday. Quite a bit of cloud cover, but overall a quiet week of weather for us. Those temperatures seasonably chilly as we get into next weekend. And looking just beyond the 7-day forecast, we are near to above average on those temperatures. And statistically here, that period through the 17th of January is our coldest, with the average high of 35 and average low of 20.
All right, Kyle, thank you so much. A record-setting performance and an exciting finish to the regular season. Week 7 was full of big moments. Brad's got a look at the Colts moving on in the playoffs coming up next.
Sometime a bit after 3 p.m. Sunday, it was evident the Bills were going to take care of their game against the Dolphins. That Buffalo win opened the door for the Colts to earn their way into the postseason.
Before we went out for warm-ups, it looked like Buffalo had the game under control. Obviously, we didn't have that score up on the scoreboard while we were out there warming up. That was obviously planned. Now hey, let's focus. We still got to take care of business.
It wouldn't be easy, but it was certainly memorable. Jonathan Taylor set the pace from his very first touches of the game. A 56-yard sprint on his second carry had the Colts offense rolling right away. By the end of the first quarter, he was already past 100 yards, and his season total passed 1,000.
You kind of get a feel of just the huddle, and you get a feel of the defense. I mean, the defense, you can see those guys getting worn down. You see those guys getting tired, and then in the huddle, your guys are juiced up, ready to go. I mean, you guys have a ton of energy. You guys are ready to fight for not only 60 minutes, you guys can go 2 hours if you wanted to.
By the time Taylor leapt over the pile near the goal line, the Colts had increased their lead to 17-0. For the half, 137 rushing yards for Taylor. The Jags managed just 136 total offense. But the second half took on a very different vibe. It started with Rodrigo Blankenship hitting the upright on a 49-yard field goal. Mike Glennon's second touchdown pass of the game suddenly had the margin down to just 6. After Phillip Rivers threw an interception late in the third quarter, the pressure felt like it was mounting on the Colts entering the fourth.
It felt, again, like I said last week, we felt a little bit this week like we were in hang on, where we're hanging on to something a little bit. And we didn't shut the door like we should have, kicking field goals a couple times in the first half, and then obviously we turn it over, and then, but each week stands alone.
The defense would have to make a couple more stops. 6 sacks in the game. DeForest Buckner had a pair of those. Kamoko Toure had his first of the season. The Colts were finally able to bring pressure on Glennon.
In the second half, we knew it was going to be on us, and we just had to take it one play at a time. We just kept preaching to each other. We just got to take it one play at a time and get off the field. 3 and out our takeaways, and we did our business today and handled our business.
The final stamp on the Colts' ticket to the playoffs would come from Taylor, showing the power and speed that made him a star at Wisconsin. 45-yard touchdown, capping a team record 253-yard rushing performance. The Colts tagged on a 2-point conversion, and in the blink of an eye, they were on their way to a dynamic 28-14 win.
The game's not over until it's over, so getting in victory mode and knowing that, hey, all we got to do is secure this kneel down, and we're in the playoffs. It was a good feeling.
Less than 20 minutes after the Colts took a knee to win, the Titans had a heart-stopping finish in Houston. As time expired, Sam Sloman banged home a 37-yard field goal off the upright and good to clinch the AFC South. Tennessee wins 41-38, so the Colts will have to settle for a wild card.
We second place in our division. all right, now let's go on the road. Let's make some noise on the road. Let's control what we can control, and let's, just play a good ball. And hopefully we can continue to do that when we go play against Buffalo and let the chips fall where they fall at.
The Colts and Bills will play the first game of the NFL's newly expanded wild card round. 1 o'clock start on Saturday. Great storylines all around. Frank Reich returning to Buffalo, where he played for so many years, and it was essentially the Bills that helped the Colts get in with that win over Miami. The Titans will host the Ravens. We'll have that game next Sunday at 1 here on WRTV. The Browns and Steelers will cap the weekend with a rematch in Pittsburgh next Sunday night. Brad Brown, WRTV Sports.
Home Store. This is home.
Places that entertain, teach, and help us escape are disappearing in cities across the country. While the latest COVID-19 relief package includes $15 billion in relief for entertainment and cultural institutions, some in the industry tell Amanda Brandeis survival is still uncertain.
Improv excites me in so many different ways. When you walk into the doors, it feels just like an open hug.
Fina City Improv is a place with much more meaning than just making comedy.
It's a place that celebrates our differences.
They're memories that live in us for life, but without the space to experience that, what is there?
And with each day they sit empty, we risk losing them for good.
We were just starting to get where we could really sustain ourselves in the new space, and then it was just ripped out from under us. So financially, it's been an absolute disaster.
From Ohio to Colorado, New York, and Texas, improv theaters and music venues have closed their doors for good, leaving a hole in communities that may never be filled again.
It's very, very difficult to get a live entertainment venue established and off the ground. There's so many permit hurdles and financial hurdles.
The same goes for places that celebrate history and imagination.
Very few stories of a museum going out of business only to be revived later.
Laura Lott is with the American Alliance of Museums, which found 1 in 3 museums are at risk of closing permanently.
We as a society protect the things and the stories and the history that's important to us in museums, and they're irreplaceable.
She says while many believe museums are funded by the government, the bulk of their budget comes from the public.
We've seen a lot of creativity to raise money, so everything from virtual galas to zoos that are offering animal appearances on your next Zoom call.
You know, as people say, they love to say, well, pivot, what can you do? What can you do online? And we did a lot of that. That just never quite captures what we have in person, the classes that we have.
So much fun.
There's renewed hope for Fina City Improv after a crowdfunding effort and emergency relief from the Save Our Stages Act, included in the latest COVID-19 relief bill. Museums can also apply for funding, but it won't guarantee survival.
I expect it's going to be a pretty slow recovery, because many museums rely on tourism and how much they have become accustomed to accessing museums online.
If you have a live event venue that you love, that you've had an experience with, I guarantee right now, if they haven't closed down, they're fighting with everything they have to keep the place open.
While funding is a lifeline, people are the lifeblood of the industry.
It's not easily replaced.
I'm Amanda Brandeis reporting.
All right, your Monday forecast, back to work and school for a lot of us. And we've got temperatures that start off in the upper 20s there, should mix in some sunshine, and we'll top out in the 40s.
All right, Kyle, thank you. And thank you so much for joining us. Good Morning Indiana starts at 4:30. Have a great night.